Well, hello and welcome to the Cluebird. I'm your host, R. Wayne Browne. Most people think bad decisions are the biggest threat to success. But often, it's not a bad decision that causes the problem. It's more than likely no decision at all. Waiting, hesitating, hand-wringing, overthinking, standing at the crossroads long after it's time to move. Because while uncertainty feels uncomfortable, and it does, indecision quietly steals something valuable: time, opportunity, and momentum. This is the Cluebird, whispering sage advice for those willing to listen. Many people spend their lives waiting for certainty. Perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect answer. But life rarely works that way because most decisions arrive incomplete, with limited information, limited guarantees, limited certainty. And yet, successful people continue moving. Not because they know everything, because they've learned something really important. A good decision today is often far better than a perfect decision made too late. One thing aviation teaches quickly is that indecision is a killer, and it becomes its own problem. When conditions change, pilots don't always have perfect information. Weather changes, situations develop, variables are shifting, everything's in flux. And in those moments, waiting forever is not an option. You gather the best information available. As a pilot, you evaluate the situation, and then you make a decision. Not recklessly, not carelessly, but decisively. Because once a decision's made, energy can then move toward its execution. And if adjustments become necessary later, you simply adjust. But standing still rarely improves the situation. Over the years, I've noticed something. The strongest pilots weren't necessarily the ones who never made mistakes. No. They were the ones who could decide, adapt, and continue moving forward. Life in general acts the same way and presents the same challenges to all of us, not just in the cockpit, but in countless everyday situations, every day. And many opportunities disappear, not because people fail, but because they never begin. I once knew some friends who wanted to start a small business. For years they talked about it and dreamed about it. They researched it. They read countless books. They listened to the so-called experts. They created plans and revised the plans. And every time they got close, another reason appeared for them to just wait a little longer. One more business course, one more article to read, one more month. From the outside, it looked responsible, as if their due diligence was important, and it is. But underneath, their fear had quietly disguised itself as preparation. Eventually, a friend asked them a simple question: "Hey, what information are you waiting for that will suddenly remove all risk?" Silence, because deep down, they knew the answer. There wasn't any. No future moment was going to eliminate uncertainty. So finally, they started. Small, imperfectly, And like most beginnings, it wasn't smooth. It was reckless. However, there was progress, and a year later, they looked back and laughed. The things they had worried about most were rarely the things that actually mattered. The real breakthrough happened the day they stopped waiting. That's one of life's greatest lessons. Clarity often comes from movement, never before movement. People think they need confidence first, but confidence usually arrives after action. People think they need certainty first, but certainty often grows through the experience. People think they need guarantees first, but life rarely provides them. Instead, life rewards thoughtful action. So the next time you're facing a decision, ask yourself 3 questions. What do I know? What don't I know? And what's the next reasonable step for me to take? Not the perfect step, but the next step, because progress is often built one decision at a time. And decisions are not permanent, as many can be adjusted, refined, and corrected. But they cannot be improved while you're standing still. Momentum is powerful. Once you begin moving, new information appears, new opportunities appear, new solutions appear. You're in the game, adapting. Things often become visible that were impossible to see from the starting line. That's why successful people aren't always smarter, no. Often, they're simply willing to move before they feel fully ready. And through movement, they become ready. So here's your clue. Choose and move. Not recklessly, not impulsively, but confidently enough to move and take the next step. Because indecision rarely creates opportunity. Action does, and action creates momentum. Life will always contain uncertainty. There will always be reasons to wait, reasons to hesitate, reasons to postpone. I know. But there are moments when progress requires a decision, a choice, a step forward. Not because the path is perfectly clear, but because standing still is no longer serving you. You're standing there stealing oxygen. So choose, move, and adjust as necessary. And trust yourself enough to continue. Never quit. And stay in the game. This is the Clue Bird, and the voice you're learning to trust might just be your own. As always, I want to thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you got something useful out of our conversation. If you did, make sure to subscribe, and hey, tell your numerous friends. Hot tip. Until our next visit, I want you to take a moment and think about what build the system, not the mood, might mean to you. Oh, and be sure to take your Clue Bird out to dinner. Hey, remember, he loves tacos.